Can you start by telling us a little bit about what Fortune Minerals is all about and what you guys are doing lately?
Sure, Anna. We are a Toronto Stock Exchange listed company, and we have two flagship properties: the NICO gold-cobalt-bismuth-copper development in the Northwest Territories, and that's comprised of a mine and a concentrator which has received its environmental assessment approval. And then we also have a refinery which is proposed near Saskatchewan, and we're expecting to receive the environmental assessment approval on that very, very shortly. The other project that we have here in British Columbia is the Arctos anthracite coal project, which is a very high quality coal of anthracite quality, and it is also in the environmental assessment process for permitting.
Great. And so, can you give us a little bit more of an update on Arctos, which is one of your flagship projects?
Sure. Arctos is a very big project. It's already had well over $100 million of investment made. It's been test mined, pilot plant processed, and the quality of the coal is very, very high. It's an anthracite rank coal, which is the best quality coal there is. It's used in metallurgical processes to make steel and also to process other metals.
Great. And last summer your work was interrupted by opposition from some Aboriginal groups, and you said that you wanted to engage with communities to get over those obstacles. Can you tell us how is that going, and how will you make sure that work can proceed next summer?
Okay, well that's you're correct. We had a protest group up interfering with our work programs and interfering with our ability to collect drill samples. This was an environmental assessment program designed primarily to collect materials for the environmental assessment. We were the subject of a protest for probably about 60 days, and then we decided to let the government of British Columbia follow through with their process to find a negotiated settlement, and that's ongoing right now between the government and the Tahltan Nation. I should also point out that there are two Aboriginal groups in the area. They're the Tahltan, and they're a very divided community, whereas the Gitxsan, which also is impacted by our development, are very supportive of our project.
Great. And I understand that there's a transmission line that's supposed to help bring you to the electricity grid and reduce costs associated with diesel. How's that going?
Well, that's a very important project for our development now. The government of British Columbia is extending the power grid up into the area, and that's designed to facilitate projects like ours, reducing their dependency on diesel power generation and connecting into the grid. It reduces the power cost very significantly, and I understand that the power line is now being extended up to Tatoga Lake, and that is being done to facilitate the Red Chris project being able to hook up, and that would mean that for our project, just about a 90 kilometer power line in order to connect our project up to the provincial grid too.
All right, and moving on to your NICO project, can you give us an update in light of the new interim land use permit?
Well, we've received our environmental assessment for the mine and the concentrator, and we're now just in the water licensing phase, which is generally procedural. We're expecting to be fully permitted on that project in May, but in the interim, the Wikisi Land and Water Board has granted us an interim permit which allows us to do early works at the property, including preparing the site for receipt of equipment, and also to conduct some modest work on the property as well. So we're very excited to be able to complete an environmental assessment process that's taken a long time and be able to break the ground and commence construction of this exciting project.
Great. And let's talk about funding. Can you tell me how's that going for you guys, and what's your outlook in general for the mining industry for funding?
Well, that's a bit of a mixed bag that you're asking about. We're generally well funded right now. We have about $12 million in working capital, so we're better funded than many companies that are in the junior space. Our company have been pursuing a strategy based on finding strategic partnerships primarily in Asia. I have made many trips to Asia over the last few years, and was just there actually a couple of weeks ago with the Premier of the Northwest Territories. Our largest shareholder is a large Chinese engineering company which has already bought control of a mining contracting company here in Canada called Procon, and they have taken a 19.5% equity interest in our company. The Arctos project has a 20% ownership by POSCO, which is the 5th largest steel company in the world, and that's a Korean company. So we've been relatively successful in securing about $40 million, or a little over $40 million in investment from Asia over the last 2 years.
Great. And your stock had a nice jump lately. What are investors telling you?
I like to think that that's, even though I'd like to credit it to the projects that we have ongoing, which is probably partially true. It's really, I think, a sign that the economy and the capital markets for the resource sector is starting to turn, and in particular that the selling stopped. And we're seeing commodity prices start to go up, gold prices stabilize, the Canadian dollar is down, which is very good for exporters like our company. So, and the investment mood, I think, is starting to shift a little bit from large U.S. Blue chip stocks coming back into the resource sector. So we think it's a good omen for positive markets in 2014.
Great. And one final question about your industry outlook. Would you say that we've hit a bottom? What are your thoughts?
I think I just answered that. I do. I actually think we're on our way back up a little bit now. It's not happening quickly, but the monies are starting to flow back into resources, and I'm feeling much more optimistic about our sector than I have over the last 2 years.
Perfect. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Anna.